Let's just do a quick talk about the decks that they have here. Uh, I guess I should intro. These are the top four matches that we have going. This has been a single elimination best of five conquest tournament. So each of these players has brought four decks, and they will be banning one. We have player Wash Andor versus Based Ink, and Wash is going to be playing, it looks like, a Demon Hunter, a Highlander Hunter, a Murloc Paladin, and a Secret Galakron Rogue. And then for Based Ink, we have Highlander Hunter, looks like the stealth variant of Galakron Rogue, some Zoo Warlock, and then Egg Warrior. What are your thoughts on all of that, Kristine?
They have pretty different lineups. Even the classes that they brought that are the same, some of them are different. Like you have the Rogue Secret variant and the Rogue Stealth variant. We have Zoo, which hasn't seen a lot of play more recently, but still very powerful. Murloc Pally, which just emerged since the newest patch, which is super fast and a pretty good counter to Highlander Hunter, which is the dominant deck right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both the Murloc Paladin and the Zoo on each side, I feel like those are definitely being brought to target those hunters.
Oh, for sure. They're super fast decks. Hunter right now has emerged as Highlander Hunter has emerged as probably the best deck in the meta. And there's even that deck has many variants. Like there's none of the decks have been completely settled on what is the best. They both are opting. See, so Base and his Hunter is playing the Fizz, which makes dragons cheaper over the Faceless Corruptor. And they're both playing the new card, the Transfer Student. But yes, even the Hunter deck lists are different, which is pretty exciting right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though they're both the Highlander decks. Uh, but both, yeah, like you mentioned, they both brought Rogue, but different variants. They both brought Hunter, but slightly different deck list there. I do love Wash has brought a Reckless Rocketeer in his Hunter list, and for Base Ink, I think her list is a little bit faster. It tops out at Dino Tamer Bran. And this is really interesting too. Neither of these players in their Highlander Hunter are running Sayamat.
Neither. A lot of the decks have been putting in Evasive Worm is another one that's been a new addition.
Yeah.
It has the Dragon Synergy, while also doing a lot of what we use Siamat for, which is a Divine Shield Rush.
These are really cool lists. I always love when we get to do, and I guess we should mention this too. I think this is another reason maybe why some of these deck lists are a little bit different than kind of what we're used to, is that this format, we actually did a best of five conquest. So these players brought four decks and then do a ban, and then they have to win with each of the three decks that remain. Whereas a lot of like the qualifiers and other tournaments that are going on right now, a lot of those are only bring three decks. So with this lineup, they actually had to bring a fourth deck. And do you think that really changed their lineup thoughts or what they would bring with their card lists?
I think it definitely changes it. I mean, it's so easy, I think, to have three decks that you're really good at. Like, these are my three decks, and I've mastered these three decks. But adding a fourth deck really adds a little bit of uncomfort level of a fourth deck that you have to be very proficient with, and also knowing all your different matchups for that fourth deck inside and out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's another thing I didn't really think about. But yeah, when you have even more decks to bring, then you have to know even more matchups and kind of how these decks pan out against each other, which also can impact what deck you're going to ban with your lineup. So I guess we can kind of take a moment to talk about bans. I almost wonder if Wash would ban Based Warrior, with that kind of having the Risky Skipper Armor Smith potential against Wash's fairly aggressive lineup. But I'm a little bit interested to see like which deck Based Ink would end up banning on Wash's side.
Yeah, I feel like the warrior ban is pretty typical. Almost, like 90% of the time, warrior's gonna get banned out because it has have such favorable matchups with aggro with this armor smith. But yeah, with Wash, I might even ban the Murloc Pally just because of his potential to high roll. I'm like, I don't even want to deal with that.
Yeah, I could see that, especially with the potential of thinking that the hunter probably doesn't get banned. So if you're not expecting your hunter to get banned, you're probably going to ban whatever deck does well against that. Especially, yeah, I could see that. That would be really interesting. Not something I can say that we talk about a lot. Be like, yeah, the Murloc Paladin has been banned when we have Demon Hunter and Warriors in the meta, but I can definitely see that.
I mean, Demon Hunter has definitely slowed down with these past, few nerfs that have come through. It's definitely showing like some kinks in the armor. Kinks, chinks, weaknesses in its armor. It's definitely become a beatable deck now.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. Let's look at... This is really interesting too. I'm curious, this Demon Hunter list, I guess the Demon Hunter could also be a consideration for the ban. And it's running double Frozen Shadow Weaver, which has kind of been interesting because I feel like people have either stopped running it or they still run it and they think it's good. What do you think on that Shadow Weaver?
I think this is looking a bit like one of the older iterations of the deck. I feel like the two new iterations that have really come out since the nerfs have been the Mana Saber version. That's if you want to keep your glaives in. Now that glaives are 6, Mana Saber is great for that. And the other one is your history buff, and you're running a lot more 1-drops. So basically, if you can get that history buff to stick, and you can just drop down all your 1-drops, you have a huge hand. You hand buff the bejeez out of your hand. But it is hard to get a history buff to stick in the meta.
That's true. And maybe Wash actually decided that the history buff wasn't worth it because it looks like Wash isn't running the history buff in this list. But also, I see only one Satyr Overseer. That's kind of interesting.
That's odd.
It's yeah. Looking at the deck list, there are a ton of 1 and 2 cost things. Like, it's very early game, and only 1 Warglaves.
I can understand the 1 Warglaves now that it's at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 Satyr's weird. Not weird. It's different, right? It is running the Bone Chewer Brawler with the Guardian Og Merchant for the Enrage package. But it's not running with the other Enrage card, the non-taunt one.
The Amani Berserker.
Yeah. Which some people have been opting to put in just to make it a stronger Enrage package.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we are kind of getting in game here once the game decides to stop having an error. For some reason, it's the black screen. We can hear noises. Alright. Perfect. Alright, so sorry about the little tech issue there. We're getting everything up, but hopefully everyone should be able to see the game now. And we're gonna kind of jump in here. It looks like Based Ink brought the Zoo Warlock here and Wash playing the Rogue. It's a little bit,
it up now.
Yeah. It's a little bit interesting. I feel like this has kind of been a less common matchup that we've seen. I mean, do you have much experience in a matchup like this? It feels very board focused.
No. It is definitely a new matchup that's not in the meta often. I mean, I know Rogue has had a big resurgence since the last Masters tour, where Rogue was one of the highest winning decks on the tour. So it's definitely seen a lot more play in ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the meta overall did shift for sure after we had those nerfs.
And even now, now I've heard people say that even the mainstream decks, even Demon Hunter, are not fully optimized. People are still testing things out, even this close to a new expansion coming out.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, he has the
Okay.
Generous Mummy. The card you never want to see off of Pharaoh Cat.
Yeah. Generous Mummy, definitely not what you want to see.
And then the
I
Summoning
mean,
Portal.
is it actually that bad in this matchup, though? I mean, against a faster deck, their stuff's gonna cost pretty cheap anyways. Maybe it's okay, but it still feels pretty bad. Basting gets to pull off the discarding of the Hand of Gul'dan. Get that extra draw.
So with the Rush Lackey, he'll definitely be able to clear this. Or Goblin Lackey, you know.
Yeah.
Did anyone say that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just Rush Lackey. It's like Rush Lackey,
Shoot Lackey,
yep, Shoot Lackey, Dragon Lackey,
Taunt Lackey.
Taunt Lackey, yeah. Those are the only names. No other names exist.
He does have an Imprisoned Scrap Imp, which is a card that is dormant, and when it wakes up, it buffs your hand, which is one of the key cards in Zoo. But you really want to get that down on turn 2. It is a little slow right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
I will act as your scale.
Wash gonna play out the taunt here. Get a little protection and also invoke. And that was the second invoke there.
So able to clear the board, keep a taunt, which is probably the ideal turn against any hyper aggro deck.
Interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about this Discover. Like, I don't really know which one feels the best there. Maybe a taunt on your own, but discovering a spell could have been really interesting.
I think Ethereal Lackey is one of the strongest lackeys for sure.
Yeah, I mean, being able to discover, what are some of the best... I mean, even maybe discovering like a Soulfire or a Hellfire to use later if the board ends up getting put back on Wash, you know, to try to come back in the game or push a little bit of damage towards the end. Could have been...
True. Get Finisher. Or even a Mortal Coil that could target a lackey and draw some cards.
Yeah.
Hard.
I wonder.
And he does have the Magic Carpet, which is a very interesting card in Zoo that allows all your 1-cost minions to get 1 attack and rush, which gives you that instant board presence.
Yeah, and especially in a matchup like this where it does feel so board focused. Like, I feel like that's going to be such a huge swing turn when Based gets that Magic Carpet down.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely be a good flick target.
Yeah.
Because 1/6 is very annoying to kill.
Yeah, we have seen that flick just sitting in hand there for Wash. Also,
He is
another
able to
key
clear
card with
the
Kronks.
Push 4.
Yeah.
Oh, very true. He has very solid late game cards, especially a 7-mana taunt. The 7-mana 7/7 taunt would be very hard for Zoo to deal with.
Yeah. Although with that buff going off and just buffing up everything in hand, that's gonna be huge. Like, this power is insane.
And this is the swing carpet turn.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, just at the same time that the hand gets buffed from that dormant awakening, like, Ugh. This is huge, and this is really going to be difficult for Rogue to deal with. They don't have a lot of wide board removal. They don't have a lot of ways to even deal with kind of big health things other than like flick, like you mentioned. So
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like he's gonna have to flick this carpet.
yeah, I mean a 13-7 is kind of ugly. Like you don't want that living.
So many.
He'd still be looking at what, 11 damage,
Yeah, it's still quite a bit.
and there's the flick.
Yeah. Oh.
It's gonna be tough because right now even the
We've
Kronks
got
is
a
super
high
slow.
turnover rate.
On wings of evil.
Well played.
Oh.
Ooh, and a well played from Wash.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, this is usually what Rogue does to people, right? Like it stalls and then it just makes a huge board out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And Zoo just did it to him, but everything was buffed.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, you know, the Rogue just has a hard time dealing with wide boards anyway, so the fact that it's like wide and the things have gotten buffed, like it's a pretty scary board. It's going to be a little bit difficult for Wash to deal with this here.
That's a very intimidating board. Not a lot of decks could handle it.
Yeah.
Maybe a Soul Mirror.
Alright. Gonna play out the dirty tricks. Just get it out there.
Okay.
Based ink going in. Alright, gonna find some lackeys. There's an ethereal lackey like we mentioned earlier.
Ups for the faceless, which gives him a poison.
Nice. Oh yeah, and she just keeps going out on this board too. Like she's like, all right, let's go for this. And I mean, she's already played a couple things. She attacked in. The secret hasn't gone off. At this point, like, Base knows. She knows, right? She knows that this is dirty tricks. So she's
Right.
like, I don't need to play a spell. Plus, I don't have any spells.
So at this point, she's so far ahead that the only thing she needs to be thinking about is like, what could stop me right now?
Yeah.
What would Rogue have?
Share the wealth.
No Zephyrus,
Brotherhood shall prevail.
a 6/6 Edwin.
Not as impactful of an Edwin as you'd hope for.
Yeah, you need a 6/6 Edwin on like turn 2.
Yeah.
That's it. Looks like she'll take the first game with her Rogue.
Looks like it. Alright. I'm just gonna wait and see what the next game brings here, and I'm just gonna double check what the bans were on. Kind of jumped into that game really quickly.
I
Didn't
didn't
get
even see
to.
ban.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so it looks like Based Ink has her Warrior banned, and the Demon Hunter has been banned for Wash. So,
Oh, she did go with the Demon Hunter.
did.
A Rogue Mirror.
All right.
I always do.
So, how do you feel about this? Because they are two different lists, like we mentioned, right? So, which one do you think is favored?
I prefer the stealth version. I think it's faster. I don't think the secrets are strong enough yet. And she has a very good opening hand. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of like the stealth as well. I think it might depend on landing the Hanar. Like, if Wash can get a Hanar out and just pump the secrets, then it might be a little bit awkward. But yeah, I tend to agree. I think the stealth is going to be a little bit more effective, I guess I'll say.
It was more consistent as well, because like you
Yeah.
were saying, like the big hurrah of having what, like 6 secrets in your deck is to get your one legendary card and have it stick. So if you don't get that, then you're just running okay secrets.
Right.
Who in their right mind hides loot? Home in the shadows.
Yeah, going in on these secrets. I'm a little bit interested about this placement as well. Just in case there's like a randomly discovered oh, and now,
Betrayal?
yes, I was like, now the card name's gonna elude me. Yeah, the betrayal. But maybe that's just too unrealistic to care about.
On the wings of
That's like 200 IQ. But that's how Dragon Rider plays.
That's right. That's right. And then I just get outplayed because I was thinking like way too many different things and not just making good plays. All right. I kind of like that, just taking the Spellkin.
Yeah. What's been super interesting about the new version of Rogue deck has been the questing adventurer. I feel like that's been more of a new addition, but when you can get your questing adventurer out and just like go off with your lackeys, it's very hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And they are both running it. And Edwin, not much combo.
Yeah. Wash has kind of gotten stuck with that Edwin in hand both games so far, not really being able to actually build it up. I did like that play last turn from Based as well. She was really testing the secret. So she traded in, it didn't pop, and instead of going in on the questing, which actually maybe going in on the questing would have been okay, because you could have done the questing adventure and like just coiny Vis if you really wanted to. But either way, if it pulled out the poisonous, she had the 3/1 stealth to clear it.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that might be one of the stronger ones in the deck is the ambush.
Act as your scape.
It's much harder to play around ambush if you don't have enough minions.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, trying to draw as much as she can, looks like. Alright.
your presence offends me.
I will act as your scape, Dragonlord.
From nothing, power.
Nothing great. We already have one deadly poison. There's a lot of fun with Togwaggle's scheme, but it is a little slow. Especially with how far behind Wash has gotten.
Yeah.
Give me a quest.
Alright. So I just kind of
Big
see.
adventurer time.
Yeah. I almost feel like maybe Wash is going to go in on something similar next turn, but I feel like in the Rogue Mirror, if you're the one that's trying to build up a board after your opponent already has a big board, I don't know. I generally feel behind in that matchup.
That's true, because even if you set up a wide board and then you have to pass the turn back, they get to choose the attacks, they get to choose all the trades,
Yeah.
and it usually puts you back at a disadvantage.
Okay. Picks up
Finally going in
Stunner.
with their spy missiles.
Yeah. Just like decide. You even saw the pause there. Like, do I want to attack with this? But yeah, she decided she wanted to push that 3 damage, which, I mean, she's far ahead on board. I kind of like it. Just push the damage and go for it.
I like that Wash is finally going for his big questing adventurer. Ooh. Going with the Warrior Prime.
Don't let the door hit you.
Alright, yeah, using that Stunner.
But yeah, like I was saying,
Give me a quest.
so he went in, but now she still has such a big board, she gets to make the trades, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, this flick in hand for basting too is really interesting, like, because in the mirror match, I feel like you don't want to be using it really unless your stuff's already gone.
Right?
Like she
'Cause
doesn't
she
want
can
to.
only hit like the secrets, which you can't even do. Well, if
Yeah.
he flicked, at least he could flick the stealth minions.
Yeah. True. Gonna find more lackeys and buff up the questing even more. And yeah, just like you said, I mean, she ended up making the value trades there, and now Wash is kind of in that same spot again where he's kind of behind. He has no board, and now what does he do? I mean, this Galakron isn't fully invoked.
Right?
Ugh. I mean, there's not even much hand space for Wash either, so
This is a turn that a big Edwin could happen. He would really need to draw into a taunt lackey,
yeah.
like with his evil miscreant. That's a very nice one to get from Feral Cat.
Yeah.
Taking 4.
I mean, if Wash can manage to get that killed and redraw it, that could be a huge swing. Get a bunch of armor and a big threat on board.
Oh, for sure. The Prime is pretty nuts.
Yeah. I mean, is he going to be able to pull that off before the game ends, though, is what I'm curious about.
We're about to see how large this questing can get. Maybe she can get it up to 15.
Pretty large, because there's a lot of these 1/1s in hand. Oh.
I think she's counting people.
Yeah. Okay. Did you take the Alexstrasza here? Nah. Just go for the smaller thing.
So she needs. She doesn't have it.
She doesn't have the board space. Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Well, I mean, 13 damage still pushed the face, and now has a gigantic board. Huge turn.
So you have the Winged Guardian, but that doesn't save you.
No.
What saves you?
Galakron into a 1-mana Kronks to clear? That's not even enough, though, is it? Because this 13/11 doesn't die.
Even the nuttiest of draws, it doesn't look like there's an out.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Secrets?
I never lie.
Is there an out with the secrets here?
I mean, Flame Lord would kill most of the board.
True. Oh no.
Too soon.
Vaporize is fairly easy to play around.
Yeah, it is. And the way that this Hanar works, Wash took that mage secret, so playing out the mage secret, it's going to offer a secret from the other classes.
And it won't offer the Flame Lord.
Yeah, so I actually wonder if instead of just picking that Vaporize, if just playing like the Paladin, picking the Paladin secret to try another chance to find Flame Ward. But I don't know, yeah, Flame Ward wouldn't have been enough. Oh.
Yeah, you'd need like freezing and Flame Ward and for her to attack in a bad order.
Yeah. So a quick 2-0 so far for Based Ink. Whew.
And she is left with her Hunter?
Yes. Yep. I wonder, do you think we see a Hunter mirror?
I hope we see a Murloc.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Murloc
Murloc-
Paladin.
Yeah, that's their sole purpose, right? Is it punishes Hunter.
Yeah.
Not soul, but that's one of the big reasons we've seen them in the meta, right? They are the anti-Hunter deck.
I think it's the
Ooh,
main.
I'm excited.
All right.
I
Yeah,
will
you
fight
got it.
with honor. Let the hunt begin.
Okay.
Let's see, Murlocs, they really want one. They're Imprisoner, they're Begurgle, they're Tide Bunny that gets bigger. I don't know,
Yeah.
Murloc's Tide Caller?
Yeah.
And she full pitched. That was a very slow hand. But Desert Spear against Murlocs is one
Ooh.
of the best cards.
I mean, I feel like even just dropping one of these ones on turn 1 is
On tempo,
pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I got
I
you,
like
friend.
this a lot.
The Og Merchant is nice, also just to kill off a 1/1.
Yeah. And I mean, especially we talked about the fact that these hunter decks, I mean, they're not even running Sayamat. The highest cost card in each of these is Dino Tamer Bran at 7. So also having a 1-drop to play on turn 1 for this hunter deck is so important. It makes such a difference.
You cannot get behind against Murlocs. They kind of go nuts.
Yeah.
Especially when the Seer comes down and then they all have, like, a lot of health, too.
Yeah. Which now we see both of those in hand, so
And then they'll have Divine Shields, because we have a Scale Lord.
yeah, that's gonna really start to spiral out of control for Based. I was gonna say, maybe you just go for the Desert Spear and clear
Yeah.
this and hope that, like, from her perspective, hope that Wash just plays, like, one thing.
True.
And maybe that it makes the Felma waking up next turn better.
And we gotta hope for that Felmal's, 5% chance to not go face? Oh, it hit a minion!
It did. That is definitely good for basting. That's what she wants to see with that.
This isn't too scary of a board considering what Murlocs can do right now. It's manageable.
Probably.
She cleared the board.
Yeah.
She has pretty decent minions on board, and she has a Desert Spear, which is a very good position for Hunter.
Oh, absolutely. And I really like that she was able to get, I mean, obviously it depends on the board, but in this matchup, I think this transfer student getting Divine Shield is actually a really big deal. Again, in this matchup where you're going to be wanting to fight for board.
Definitely a solid one.
Ooh.
Wash's hand is looking a little heavy.
Yeah.
He can buff his Murlocs and give them Divine Shield, but he does not have Murlocs.
Yeah. Makes it a little bit difficult to give them health and Divine Shield.
A Tempo Scale Lord is Phil's bad man.
Wow. And Base just drawing into the Zephyrus too. Does she go for it? I think so, right? Like,
Your wish is my
what does it give you?
Could
Shadow
give
Word Death?
Wow, I thought it
Yeah.
would give you Savage Roar. It does give you Wind Fury, so she could push 10 right now.
That's true. Yeah. I like this a lot. She just saw the tempo play come down from Wash's side, and instead of dealing with the 1 minion on board, she just says, yeah, let's just be aggressive and push the damage.
She has the board. The only thing that you can let a Murloc do is have, or a Paladin is have more time. And she's like, nope, no more time. We're gonna end this now.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, and a 3-0 for Base Tank. Pretty fast series, but Washed not going home empty-handed. All of our top 4 players get to go home with either a gaming pad from Techni Sport or a bag of coffee from Blackout Coffee. So you can see those kind of on the side of the screen over there. They are kind of our sponsors for AFG. So thank you so much to them. And yeah, go check it out. And then we will be getting our next match ready, our next top 4. But do you have any like closing thoughts or anything you want to mention about that match before we kind of go into a quick break?
Well, it's crazy as we didn't see any like obvious misplays, right? I feel like both players played very well, and I think the cards just kind of came for I'm losing her name, Basing. But it was great playing from both sides.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just some of those games. I mean, that last one, there just was not able to stick a board with Murloc Paladin, and that's, again, we talked about at the beginning of the match. Yeah, Murloc Paladin is being brought to target the hunter, so I think that was probably an unexpected outcome in that matchup from Wash's side, but still well played for sure.